Hey guys, let's get more news about Dallas, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Dallas Cowboys sign trio of veteran players for defensive depth. The Dallas Cowboys are adding some bodies as intensity at training camp picks up. This week, ahead of a joint practice with the Los Angeles Rams and the team's preseason opener, the Cowboys announced the signings of 3 veteran defenders, including 2 linebackers and a defensive tackle. Dallas signed linebackers Nick Vigil and Darius Harris, and defensive tackle Albert Huggins. The team made room for the signings by waiving linebacker Byron Vaughns, placing defensive end Sam Williams to the reserve injured list, and moving C.D. Lamb to the reserve/did not report list. Harris was an undrafted free agent in 2019 out of Middle Tennessee. He spent the majority of his time with the Kansas City Chiefs on the practice squad, but he can call himself a 3-time Super Bowl champion. Harris appeared in limited action in Super Bowl 57 against the Philadelphia Eagles, recording 1 tackle in the game. Vigil was a 3rd-round pick in the 2016 NFL Draft out of linebacker. He has bounced around multiple teams, including brief stints with the Cincinnati Bengals, Los Angeles Chargers, Arizona Cardinals, New York Jets, and Minnesota Vikings, where he briefly played under Cowboys' new defensive coordinator Mike Zimmer. Huggins was a 2-time national championship with the Clemson Tigers but went undrafted in the 2019 NFL Draft. He signed with the Houston Texans and signed with the team's practice squad after being waived during the final round of roster spots. Huggins was later signed off of the practice squad by the Philadelphia Eagles and appeared in 4 games during the 2019 season. Huggins also had brief stints with the New England Patriots, Detroit Lions, New Orleans Saints, and, most recently, the Atlanta Falcons. All of the players face a long shot to make the final 53-man roster, but they will provide valuable reinforcements and bodies for the duration of camp and the preseason. Jordan Lewis is playing exactly the way the Dallas Cowboys need him to. There are certain players who simply will not go away. This is said in the best possible way. Sometimes you have players who come around who you figure are surely going to be riding through their last season with the team only for them to hang on for 5 more. Some dudes are just built different. Jordan Lewis is this generation's Orlando Scandrick. Scandrick held longer odds initially as he was initially a 5th-round pick out of Boise State when the Cowboys drafted him. Boise is a lot of fun in the college football world, but let's not act like it is churning out NFL superstars, although this is the Cowboys to be fair. Whatever the case, the point is that Scandrick carved out an NFL career that saw him playing for this team for a decade. The final season in which Scandrick suited up was 2017 when Dallas had an infusion of youth at the cornerback position. Chido Awuzie was the team's 2nd-round pick and the one we assumed would hang on the longest, but it was his soon-to-be very good friend who the team took 1 round later that is entering year number 8. Unlike Scandrick, Jordan Lewis was a day 2 pick. The draft was technically different in 2008 when Scandrick was in it, as the Cowboys took him in the 3rd round. What's more is that Lewis hailed from Michigan, but he wasn't even the most notable Wolverine in his draft class as Dallas also took Taco Charlton and did so in the 1st round. That is all we need to say about that. Lewis has withstood all sorts of change to the Cowboys secondary. He was around for Byron Jones' peak, the Chris Richard days that we thought would change everything, the arrival of both Trayvon Diggs and Darren Bland, not to mention their amazing individual seasons, and the acquisition of Stephon Gilmore. In fact, Gilmore is an interesting name because it seems like the Cowboys chose to go with Lewis over Gilmore in terms of free agency retentions this past spring. This may not technically be true in a literal sense, but Dallas only chose to bring one back, and if we had polled the masses around here in the middle of it, most would have preferred the former Defensive Player of the Year. Yet here we sit with 2 weeks of training camp behind us, and Jordan Lewis is making play after play after play after play. Tuesday was no exception. You'll note that Lewis recorded the first interception of Dak Prescott with the team wearing pads. Funny how Dak's interceptions were a constant story all of camp last year and have hardly been mentioned in the here and now. Funny indeed. But as things relate to Lewis, the team is in a position where their top three cornerbacks are all players they trust greatly in Lewis and the aforementioned Trayvon Diggs and Darren Bland. That Dallas can so easily and smoothly rely on Lewis has left them with an incredibly high floor of play at the corner position. It goes without saying that the offseason was incredibly frustrating, but there is an argument to be made that Jordan Lewis may have been the most important retention that they had, as he has kept them in business on the back end. Cowboys projected to cut ties with veteran quarterback. The Dallas Cowboys are facing a tough decision at quarterback as roster cuts approach, with Cooper Rush likely to be the odd man out. Rush has been with the Cowboys since 2017. He saw extended time in 2022 when Dak Prescott went down with a thumb injury. Rush went 4-1 in his starts, passing for 1,051 yards, 5 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. He's played sparingly outside that window, attempting just 49 passes in his other 5 seasons combined. Rush has been a reliable backup option but is projected to lose the gig to former number 3 overall pick Trey Lance. John Machota of The Athletic believes that Dallas will choose to hang on to Lance after giving up a 4th-round pick for him a year ago. Cooper Rush has done nothing to lose the backup job. Lance hasn't done much to think he has realistically passed Rush on the depth chart. But if the Cowboys go with only 2 at the position, it's hard to believe that they will let Lance walk after trading a 4th-round pick for him a year ago, Machota wrote on Wednesday, August 7. Rush has looked like his usual self. Lance has been up and down. There are moments when it seems easy to write him off, and then there are moments when he makes a play that showcases why he was a top 5 pick in 2021. Machota noted that Lance will be the number 1 player to watch during the Cowboys' preseason slate. The Cowboys' initial unofficial depth chart showed Rush as the number 2 quarterback behind Prescott and Lance as the 3rd option. Dallas will face the Los Angeles Rams on Sunday, August 11. There will likely be lots of reps available, with Prescott unlikely to see much, if any, action. Lance's journey in the NFL has been rough so far. But he has a chance to turn it around and is feeling refreshed heading into the new season. I think the biggest thing is I've learned a lot about myself and who I am on and off the field, Lance told the Cowboys' official site in May. This offseason, I've been at my best mentally, physically, spiritually, knowing who I am, where I am and being able to be present. Lance hasn't played a live snap with the Cowboys, but the team has been watching him closely. New offensive coordinator Brian Schottenheimer had liked what he's seen out of Lance. What I see is a guy that's going out each day and he's competing at the highest level, Schottenheimer said on August 1. Is he making mistakes? Of course he is. But I see improvement every day. Trey has never done some of this stuff, so what I see is when his footwork speeds up and the ball comes out on time, he's getting it, he's starting to figure it out. The main topic of conversation this season regarding the Cowboys' quarterback situation has been Prescott's future. He is entering the final year of the 4-year, $160 million deal he signed with the Cowboys in 2021. If Dallas doesn't reach an extension with him, he'll be a free agent next offseason. Last season, Prescott topped the NFL in completions, 410, and touchdown passes, 36, amassing 4,516 passing yards and finishing second in MVP voting. Prescott has not been shy about saying he's not afraid of potentially playing for another franchise if things don't work out in Dallas. Having a kid, your perspective changes a little bit in life, Prescott told Jeff Kolb of Fox 4 on August 1. A lot of quarterbacks have played for other teams. That's just the business and nature of this game. That's just me not being naive to that. It's not something I look for, or prepare, even plan, for, but if something like that happens, I'll certainly be ready for it. Prescott and the Cowboys open the regular season on September 8 on the road against the Cleveland Browns. And you, fan? What do you think of the situation of Cooper Rush? Leave your opinion in the comments.